What it do, homies? We are here with a donation request. This time we're checking out SadBoyProlific. I never knew what I meant to you. And we got the lyrics version to make sure we understand everything on the first listen. Let's go ahead, shut up, turn it up.
Hey, old friend.
Why do people leave? Actually, why do I seek relief in people who only mistreated me? Let a sense of dependence and need in me. I'd give the
wait a minute. We talking deep in here. You know, I didn't know where we was going there at the beginning. I thought he was just gonna be singing, you know, which ain't too bad, you know, especially if there's an emotional type of, you know, target that you're trying to hit, you know. So he's using that as a sample that's going on in the background. But then I wasn't ready for him to start rapping. He about to start actually speaking right now. All right, I need to lock in. My bad, y'all. That kind of came out of nowhere.
Why do people leave? Actually, why do I seek relief in people who only mistreated me? Let a sense of dependence and need in me. I'd give the ones that I love all the blood in my body, but never be seen as enough. I used to kick on my click, never trip by the bitch. I've been smoking my lungs.
Yeah, that's 100%. That's 100% facts, right? At least that I'd seek relief. I'd give the ones that I love all the blood in my body, but never be seen as enough. You know, just titling this with the way, not titling this, sorry, just thinking about this in the way that he, you know, I never knew what I meant to you. You know, at first when I looked at the lyrics, I kind of thought that maybe it was kind of a more of a, in a love sense, if you will. But this is more of a kind of like, hey, you know, I've done all these things, but you have not reflected. You know, we still got the song to get through, but you have not reflected the same energy that I've been giving back to you. You know what I mean? So I don't know what this is. You know, I feel like I've gone above and beyond to do what I can, but I'm still left in the darkness. And that's a sucky place to be in, especially if it's somebody that you care about, you know, lover, family member, you know, good friend. You know what I mean? It sucks.
Bitch, I've been smoking my lungs. Now they just copy me putting out music instead of pursuing the shit that they love. They haven't seen all the sleepless nights I would stay up, but the times I would write as I cut. That,
that's deep. I would love as I cut this right here. That's how it is, you know, with anything in life. You know, nobody ever sees the 1,000 losses that it took for you to gain that single W. You know what I mean? You know, same thing for me with this channel and everything. You know, I know a lot of people I still don't consider myself like really successful on a YouTube platform, but there are other people that does. And, you know, I like to stay humble. But there are a lot of sleepless nights, you know, a lot of recordings and stuff like that. Now they just copy me, you know, putting out music. So I'm not that familiar with SadBoyProlific's music and the type of style that he make and possibly the impact that he has, right? That's what I don't understand, because I feel like if I did and could trace it to another artist, and I could really understand the impact of that, the copying, putting out music instead of pursuing the stuff that they love. You know, labels actually do the same stuff as well, right? That's why trends happen, and that's why they come as fast as they die. It's because everybody just starts hopping on the same waveform, and then all of a sudden what was created out of originality sometimes, and we're specifically talking about music right now, what was created out of originality and what was created from a genuine sense has now been replicated, besmirched, if that's the word, copied and plastered everywhere, and now it has lost its original meaning, right? The original artist who put out, who had an impact, still going to make this, but now I would say overall, now the value of the stuff that they put down has been decreased because everybody's doing it now. So it's like, where do you go? You know what I mean? It really does suck.
Would write as I cut. I still have notebooks with pages and pages of verses soaked all in my blood. Conversations I had with myself and no one felt like giving a fuck. Contemplations I had to just giving it up. One night I grabbed all my razors and sat there in silence while holding the gun. Thinking it won't be so silent when everyone hears what I've done. Squeeze the trigger as hard as I could, but the bullet was...
Oh my my goodness. He says it won't be so silent when everybody hears what I've done. So essentially he's saying, I have to do something dramatic to get you to pay attention, right? That this is a noise that you cannot ignore. They say you're more famous, right? You become more famous when you perish like an artist and everything. And this is like that one big old huge type of rush. You know what I mean? People that you don't even listen to, right? All of a sudden gets bumped up in your feed, if something, drama or if something tragic happens to them. And that kind of sucks because I can imagine people, who pour their blood, sweat, and tears into their passion, but they're not seeing enough return. So they instead try to do something drastic to at least get their name in there. And this, as I'm saying this, I'm starting to think about that one lady who tried to sue Uber because the Uber driver wouldn't let her in the car because she was big. She couldn't fit in this car and everything. And while that is silly, I can't imagine that being the only time a situation like that has arisen. Why didn't anybody else say something about it? Like, why her? Turns out she also was a musician. So you know what I'm saying? Drastic measures, because that did make a lot of noise. And it had a lot of people paying attention to her, no matter how short. It had a lot of people paying attention to her what otherwise people wouldn't, right? So never knew it. Man.
Won't be so silent when everyone hears what I've done. Squeeze the trigger as hard as I could, but the bullet was stuck. Etched 20 lines on my skin, fell asleep and left life up to luck. I'm not scared of the dark anymore, I'm in love with it. Spent so much time in it, I became one with it. I don't ever want to see the sun again. All I want is to be fucking dead. Leave me roses and violets inside of my coffin. A knife with an upside down cross and blood dripping off it. An ounce with some vodka, make sure there's a mosh pit. Make sure that my mom is in the middle, getting stomped quick. For all the time she left me and my brother unconscious, high off the drugs coming off it.
This part right here, right? This is kind of like the it's like the stuff, because you never know what people are going through. You never know people's origin stories or how they end up in the way that they are. And sometimes, this is why I love music, because it can be a great escape for dealing with, any issues that you might possibly have. And then, this right here, kind of giving the origin story, kind of lets you know that, like I said, I don't know anything about SadBoyProlific. I don't know, how famous he is, how much of a impact he's had and everything. But when you hear something like this, you're like, okay, this is obviously some deep trauma stuff that you've been dealing with. You know what I mean? And, you're using this music, hopefully, I think, as a way of like trying to cope. But then, if nothing happens, if nothing kind of takes off, then where do we go here, right? Because this was kind of my coping mechanism, and I was doing it from a sense of passion, but I'm not feeling any better. So now I've returned back to my demons, right? The type of stuff that I was just trying to escape from. That's what I start thinking immediately, seeing how this is towards the end of the song as opposed to being at the beginning. It's like, here I am. I've returned to this. I don't even want to be here. You know what I'm saying? Like, just make sure this happens. And then here's the why, right? So,
It stopped quick. For all the time she left me and my brother unconscious, high off the drugs coming off it.
Yeah, this ended up being deep. I always get nervous, even though I've been doing this, for a long time. I always get nervous when I'm reacting to stuff that has deep concepts, because I am just deathly afraid of just missing the concept. This happens to me when I do like reactions to music like this, or more recently, Sleep Token. You know what I mean? Because sometimes the concepts can be just so intertwined and hidden behind some clever wordplay that these can just go straight over your head. And I'm fearful of it, like every day, You do get better at speaking about these things, especially if you're the type of person that likes to analyze lyrics and everything. But, music changes, people get real creative, and sometimes you just miss the mark. And I've missed the mark plenty of times on this channel. You just got to pick it up and keep going. But anyways, I'm getting off track. Let me know what y'all thought about this song down in the comments. Dave's out.